Hey there, welcome to the Movie Review Mom YouTube channel. If you've just now discovered me and this channel, yay, I've been waiting for you. And if you're a subscriber returning, thank you so much for coming back. You already know my goal is to save you time and money. It's just so annoying when you have to waste time and money watching a horrible film. And so I try to give you the inside scoop on filmmaking quality and content so you can decide whether or not you want to spend time or money or both watching a particular film. So today, the movie I want to introduce you to and review is called Fly, Old Bird, Escape to the Ark. This dramedy road trip is now available on Amazon Prime Video. It's rated PG. It's 2 hours and 27 minutes long, which I'll talk more about in just a few minutes. But my overall movie review mom grade is a C. Now, I'll explain why I gave it the grade that I did. First, I'll give you an overview in a nutshell. I'll point out things I liked, things I didn't like. I'll offer tips for parents, themes worth talking about if you watch this with friends or family, and funny lines, interesting lines. And then we'll finish up with recommendations for other films that are sort of similar that you might also really like, or you might even like better than this one. So before we dive into all of that, first, I just wanted to give a shout out to Amazon Prime. They're the sponsor for today's video. Click down in the description below for a link for a free trial on Amazon Prime, especially if you want to watch this for free. All right, so in a nutshell, John Koski, a 69-year-old battling early dementia and living in a mobile park home in Michigan, flees his children's attempt to send him to a nursing home. He teams up with a new friend, Miller Gibbs, an endearing 64-year-old with a weak heart, aiming to visit Kentucky's Ark Encounter, a full-scale replica of Noah's Ark. So as they traverse Ohio, the bantering begins as Gibbs calls out Koski's paranoia, testing their friendship. They swap cars, license plates, and routes through the countryside to avoid capture. Can they reach the Ark without getting caught? Will clashing morals break their bond? And will Gibbs's heart hold out as the road to triumph is paved with unexpected challenges? Well, the film was directed by Sean Mackey. Writing credits go to Alan Mackey, who also stars in the movie. And I hope I'm pronouncing the names correct. Maybe it's Mackey. I don't know. Makey? Sorry. But Alan and Sean also produced the film. So kudos to them. Quick tips for parents. I think kids are going to be extremely bored. So will some adults. It's about a couple of old guys. Now, I say old in their 60s. And the older I get, the younger that sounds. I'm just saying. There is talk of death and losing loved ones, but there is no profanity. So, yay. Some of the themes that are illustrated very well in the film are aging, family, connection, friendship, independence and freedom, dementia, Alzheimer's, and living your life to the fullest. So let me tell you the list of things I really liked about this movie. So although the movie is a low budget flick and it's an indie movie, which often is low budget, there is still a lot of really good to be found here. So don't dismiss it quickly. I'd never seen any of these actors in anything before. The cast includes Alan Mackey, Dennis McComas, Micah Scott Carter, and Sean Mackey. The cinematography by Sean Mackey is actually really good, especially for a first film. I also really liked the music by Ido Kashi. The musical montages I thought were always a lot of fun. The song during the final credits was actually sung by Alan Mackey. I mean, one-man show almost here. One thing that caught my attention was the description of the character with Alzheimer's. Now, a lot of movies have been coming out about the subject of Alzheimer's and dementia. There's a very fine line between those two. And some people would even say they're the same thing. Some would say one is just more advanced, that Alzheimer's is diving deeper. But regardless, it's not a surprise that we're seeing a lot of movies like this because baby boomers are beginning to experience both of these illnesses. My mother actually passed away last year with Alzheimer's, and unfortunately, it runs in my mother's side of the family. So I'm doing all I can to learn as much as I can and to use my brain and to steer it away so that I don't have to deal with that. Luckily, I take after my father's side of the family more. I'm just saying. Anyway, pray for me. It was such a difficult decision to move my mother into her assisted living facility. She needed 24/7 care by the end, which my sisters and I couldn't provide. We were all working and lived in different states, even. So we set her up first with home health care for a little while, but eventually that just wasn't enough. And it was a really difficult decision to make. My twin sister is actually a nurse practitioner, so she helped us navigate those very difficult medical decisions for my mother, even my father, my stepfather, and even my stepmom. I lost three parents in 3 months last year. Yeah, not a good year for our family. Um, and then my brother is an attorney, and he helped us navigate all the financial, legal choices that we had to make. And honestly, what a blessing that was. And not every family has medical and legal experts in their family to help them get through all of that. And so I felt very, very blessed. Those decisions are tough, and reach out for resources if it becomes your turn to help make those choices with your parents. Fans of old cars and baseball will absolutely get a kick out of some of the scenes that feature those things. There is a strong Christian vibe in the film, although it's not the typical Christian preaching movie. It just happens to be one of the characters is very Christian and naturally shares that with his new friend. The title of the movie is very creative and intriguing. I wanted to know what it was all about. The movie poster, I think, is really fun and captures the fun whimsy of the road trip. We also get to see a lot of beautiful countryside as the two men have their epic road trip across the country. Even though it felt like a giant commercial for the Ark encounter in Kentucky, I still want to go see it. I just learned about it maybe a year or two ago, and my husband and I have put that on our little bucket list. We just haven't made it out there yet, but my twin sister and her husband did because they have a son who just happened to move to Kentucky, and they said that it was a lot of fun. So I want to go see that. We get to see a little bit of it in Act 3, and it looks huge. I've also learned about it through YouTube videos and such. Anyway, we're going to see it maybe this year or next, but we're definitely going to see it. Ultimately, the movie is a reminder to live our life to the fullest every day and to trust that God has a plan for each of us. We really don't know how much time we have, so we have to constantly think about using each day. The ending of the movie I thought was very, very sweet. Now, with all of that praise, there were some things that I didn't like or thought could have been done better. But for our first indie film with this crew, I thought they did a lot of things right, which is what I just mentioned. So the first thing, I thought it was so odd that the men acted like they were so old. Like I said, one of them was 64 and the other one was 69. That's not that old anymore. And yet they kind of were acting like old geezers in their 80s. The movie is way, way too long for what it wants to say. A film that is 2.5 hours long is the mark of either an Avatar movie, or a director who hasn't learned the discipline of editing. There were many scenes or parts of scenes that could have easily been cut without affecting the story at all. Now, I liked the musical montages. Some of them went on a little too long. Some scenes just really didn't add that much and could have been cut just to preserve the length of the movie to a more manageable size. About 90 minutes, an hour and a half is what audiences expect. And after the 2 hour mark, some audiences get really cranky. I'm just saying. Now, it is a low budget film, as I mentioned, and it looks and feels like that in pretty much every way. Still, kudos to the cast and crew for making a movie And like I said, they got some things right. So I'm excited to see what they put together next time. At about the 1 hour 30 mark, the sound effects track became suddenly super loud and distracting. And I thought, oh no, we still have another hour to go. But it finally worked out its kinks and then got back to a regular sound quality. And so I'm not sure what happened there. And I don't know if they were just in a hurry to get it out and have it done already or what, but that's also kind of what happens too. Movies take time. Now, whenever I watch movies, I take notes and I write down funny lines and interesting lines simply to share them with you so you can get a taste for the dialogue and the script writing quality. I have them all on my written review at moviereviewmom.com, so you can see them all there. But this older these two guys, I was going to say couple, they're not a couple. These two guys become friends and they just have a lot of fun, entertaining banter. And so Alan Mackey plays this character. He says, tell you what, I'll play the drums if you dance. And so, what the first guy or the guy is like, oh, I don't mind, I'm not going to dance, but it's just the two of them in this empty room. And so he starts playing the drums and the other one starts dancing. And I was like, good for them. They're having fun. And oftentimes we're so hesitant, what are people going to think of me? And then when you realize nobody's even watching, nobody cares, especially when you get in your 60s. My husband and I laugh and say, that's when you become invisible. Nobody even sees you anymore. So go ahead and do whatever you want. And then another line that I thought was kind of cute was, again, Alan Mackey's character says to his buddy, he says, look at that sign that says repurposed. That reminds me of you. And then there were a couple of interesting lines. So there's a pastor and he says, aren't you glad God never takes breaks? And I thought that that was sweet. All right, so let me give you a recommendation for 3 films that I instantly thought of while I was watching this one because they all have to do with dementia and Alzheimer's. These are recent movies that came out. The first one is called Sleeping Dogs. Love the title. There's a double entendre going on there. And I will actually cue that one up right after I finish with this video so that you can watch it and see if that's a movie that you're interested in watching. It stars Russell Crowe, and he's an aging guy with dementia, and there's a crime and there's some stuff going on, and I really enjoyed it. Another one is called Knox Goes Away, starring Michael Keaton, whom I love. Also struggling with dementia, and there's a crime and stuff goes on. And I really got a kick out of that one, although that one's really violent and bloody, just so you know. And then the third one stars Jessica Chastain, and it's called, these are Academy Award winning actors and actresses, right? It's called Memory. And she has kind of PTSD with past memories, but she develops a friendship with a man who is struggling with dementia and losing his own memories. So there's a couple of illustrations of memory. And so I think the title is great. And it was also very well done. All right, that's it. Hopefully my review gives you an idea of whether or not you want to watch this. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, click down below, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. Spreads magical YouTube fairy dust on my channel so more people can find it. And my goal, as I said, is to save you time and money. All right, have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.